How's it going, everyone? Have quite a lot to talk about in this video. Yet another live service game has been cancelled. A free-to-play title that was scheduled for a PlayStation 5 release, unfortunately, now has been cancelled. The reality of live service games once again showcasing itself. We'll talk about that. A bit of an update on Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. Seems like some people are actually pretty excited about it, and, you know, it's Jak and Daxter. It's a very notable IP. And Lost Frontier was a game that a lot of people missed out on, given that it wasn't in the main trilogy. And how it worked was, it initially got a PlayStation Portable release, I believe, and then it was later ported to PlayStation 2. And by that point, you know, people had the PSP, but the PSP had lost a lot of steam, and also, most people, by the point Lost Frontier came out, had moved on to a PS3. And obviously, the majority of PlayStation 3s not having backwards compatibility limited people from playing this game on PS3 as well. And actually, the PlayStation 2 and PSP release, I'm incorrect, it was released on the same day. But even then, it came out in fall of 2009, and by that point, the PlayStation 3 Slim had come out. Most people had moved on to next-generation platforms, and again, the issue with the lack of backwards compatibility was definitely there in terms of people checking this game out. So you can check it out now as a classic title. We'll talk that at the end of this video. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. But first of all, Warhaven has been canceled. Now, the game is in early access currently on PC. It's a free-to-play title, and it was scheduled to come to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. It's been in early access going back to September of last year, but now it has been completely canceled just 7 months after hitting early access. Noting from the first alpha test in 2021 to the global early access in 2023, Warhaven has come this far thanks to everyone's love and support. We want to express our gratitude for the love and care you have shown for Warhaven, Nexon said in the announcement. To create a game that could be cherished and enjoyed over an extended period, we invested much consideration and effort. However, regrettably, we must bid our sincere farewell. As of April 5th, 2024, we apologize that we could not come to you with better news. You know what? With games like this, I am much more in favor of cutting your losses early. If they had deemed Warhaven as a project that wasn't going to be able to be revitalized, why even release it on PlayStation 5 to ultimately just shut it down 3 to 6 months after that release? Let's cut our losses, let's cancel the game right now while we're ahead, and we gotta start doing this with live service games. We can't prolong these games for years and years and just bleed money. And again, at some point, we're gonna come to the harsh realization of live service game. And Nexon is a big publisher, and they're gonna have a lot of titles that are successful, but man, we see this story over and over again, and for every Helldivers 2, and yes, Helldivers 2, we can constantly look back at it and we'll be like, wow, this game popped off. You'll see games like Warhaven 5 to 6 times as frequently as a Helldivers 2, probably even more than that. The thing is, Helldivers 2 stays in the news cycle. It's a successful game. You're gonna see constant updates about that game. Warhaven, it's announced that it's canceled. It's gonna be long forgotten about by June of this year when it shuts down in April. Hell, by the end of April, people are gonna forget about it and not talk about it, and there's still gonna be a lot of focus on successes like Helldivers 2, but realize that the majority of titles end up like Warhaven, and that's what's gonna happen with a lot of PlayStation games as well. Helldivers 2 is a success. Am I expecting Fair Game, Concord, and all of the other live service games that PlayStation's got in development to be successful, or every other live service game from every other publisher to be successful? No, and we all know what the game is. Throw as much crap at the wall and hope that something sticks and a couple games stick, and ultimately, those will make it all worth it. Everything in the oven, all the irons in the fire, hopefully 1 or 2 of them pop off, and then we'll make our money back on all of them, and we'll hopefully ride that gravy train until the end of time. But the reality is the majority of them are gonna flop, because live service games are not like single player games. Single player games, you play one, you move on to the next. Live service games, people aren't juggling 7 to 8 live service games at a time, or even playing 7 to 8 live service games over the course of a year or two. People certainly that are into single player games, they're playing 7 to 8 games a year. Probably even more than that for some people, but I digress. You guys get the idea. Another sad end, and this one happening very quickly, but let's be real. Better to just end service earlier, in the case of Sony, outright canceling projects, big projects that are in development if you deem them to be unsuccessful. Why even release them just to cancel them, or just end service a few months after that? Let's just cut our losses early, move on, let's work on projects that hopefully will pop off and will be successful. And in the case of Sony, maybe some single-player titles. Maybe let's reinvest into that as well. Moving on from that, Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier was released as a PlayStation Classics title. Now, it is available as a PS Plus Premium game, but at the same time, you can get this game standalone for $9.99. All of the Classics games, or I believe the majority of them, you can just buy outright on the PlayStation Store. So you don't have to sign up for PS Plus Premium, and yes, it is $9.99. It's available on PlayStation Plus Premium as well, alternatively, and it does have a Platinum Trophy. So if you are a Platinum Trophy hunter, you can check that out as well. Available on PS5 and PS4. Experience Jak and Daxter The Lost Frontier, originally released on the PSP system, enhanced with up-rendering, rewind, quick save, and custom video filters. Jak and Daxter are back in an adventure that picks up the action where the previous trilogy left off. By the way, the previous trilogy are available as PS2 on PS4 games, so if you haven't played those, Jak 1, Jak 2, Jak 3, and Jak X Combat Racing, all available to play on PS4 or PS5 if you do want. Whether battling sky pirates in a customizable aircraft or blasting with the punishing gun stab, their journey will take them beyond the edge of the brink and into a war bigger than they could have imagined. This title has been converted from PSP to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I've heard that the PS2 version of this game does have some issues, so in this case, probably better that they converted the PSP version. I played the game when it initially came out on PSP, and I liked it back then, but my memory of it is so foggy. Guys, I was down bad for the PSP back in like 2008, 2009. I thought it was the most criminally underrated platform ever. Obviously, if you added custom firmware and that layer to it, I mean, the PSP was just insane, but nonetheless, I always loved the PSP, and I was buying and checking out like every game. And I remember 2009 was a bit of a revitalization year for the PSP. You had the release of Resistance Retribution, you had the release of Jak Lost Frontier, you had the release of, I believe, Gran Turismo PSP, which was kind of big, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say Dissidia Final Fantasy came out in 2009 as well. So think about that. That's a pretty big 4 titles to drop in a single year for the PSP. I mean, those are high levels of exclusives that the PlayStation 5 ain't even getting in some years. I mean, you look at, I'm just saying, in 2023, the PS5 got one big exclusive in Spider-Man 2. If my memory serves me correctly, 2009, the PSP would have beaten out the PlayStation 5 in 2023 in terms of compelling titles and compelling exclusives. I'm just saying, something to think about. Consequently, they do know there may be times where the title plays a bit differently from the PSP, or where some features may cause the title to not function properly. This version does not support the PSP system's peripherals, therefore some functionality may not be available. And to circle back on my PSP, I'm totally joking, I get it, Final Fantasy 16 did come out, and if I'm using Dissidia in 2000, I'm sure some people will take that comment seriously. It's more me talking up the PSP and my love for the PSP than crapping on the PS5. We crap on the PS5's release calendar enough on this channel. Just let me have my moment with the PSP. The PSP was super underrated. Nonetheless, Jak Lost Frontier available now with a Platinum Trophy. $9.99 if you do want to buy it standalone as well. So go check that out. Might be a game you end up enjoying. I actually saw somebody in our comment section saying that they were going to pick it up standalone. And yeah, PS Plus Premium doesn't offer a ton of value these days. So, you know, buying it standalone might be the route you want to go, and it'll be in your digital library. I want to say forever, but obviously these days we can't really say forever with a lot of confidence. That's going to do it for me. Again, Warhaven is ending service on April the 5th on PC, never coming out on PS5. Yet another live service game canceled, and Jak Lost Frontier available now on the PlayStation Store. You can buy it standalone, $9.99, and another old school Platinum Trophy there as well. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.